All right, good morning. Let's go ahead and see if there's any trades. We got a big gap up again. Are we locked in? Good morning. So, got another big gap up after yesterday's gap down into resistance. Now we got a gap up into resistance. Big range. Gapped up already. We hit the 21 MA on the 4-hour chart. Rejected. Pulling back down to what would be the 9 on the 21. Oh, the 9 on the 4-hour chart. Basically looking to see if we hold the 655 level. If we lose the 655 level, then basically right here, 655, this is kind of our support. We lose this level, then look for a downside opportunity. Technically, we are below the VWAP on the 5-minute chart, which is right up here. So it's either we get back above this VWAP and we go for this high a day, break of this high a day, which the 661 level is a pretty resistance right here at 661. So we need to break this VWAP, test the high a day, retest the VWAP, break the high a day, and then we can go higher. So that's going to be quite a move to make with no news and with no certainty. There's no news certainty. The market's gapping up mostly on the hope of certainty coming. And once again, there's still no definitive news to just send the market higher above this resistance right here. So it seems more likely that we kind of wrestle with this VWAP and then we break below 655 and possibly make a move back down. But I don't really know if I'm seeing a move all the way down below 655, let alone down to 652 and below there. So I'm not really sure. We have 2 hours from now until lunchtime, so I'm not sure what's going to happen between now and then. See if there's an opportunity. If not, then maybe during power hour there will be a better opportunity today to catch a bigger move in the market. But for now, I'm just gonna stay patient. See, we're really right in the middle right here. This is the center, and then this is the resistance up here. This is resistance right here at high day, right in the middle. And this would be support right around here, 655. Just a few levels that we're kind of right in between right now. the headlines coming out right now are not entirely positive. So we're gonna see if we can even make it up to that VWAP again. If we get up to the VWAP, we're gonna test it. We're gonna reject the VWAP, or we're gonna actually get above it. Because right now it seems like we're gonna reject. We're not even making it to the VWAP so far. If we lose 655, then it's gonna be more bearish than anything. Still not, doesn't make for an easy trade though. I don't really know if I see any easy trades today. We'll see how much volatility we get in the first hour. $657. What is up today? ARM is up 16% today. Cypher mining's up 10%. SMCI is up 7%. Robinhood's up 7%. AMD's up 4%. Why is ARM up 16%? Let's see. Shifting to chip sales at ARM Holdings. They're just pushing more chips, pushing for producing more chips and selling them. ARM has like a deal with Apple but now they're pushing to sell their own chips to others as well. They're up 16% on that. And the chip optimism. Intel's up 5%. CoreWeave's up 6%. The semiconductor leveraged ETF's SOXL is also at 4.2% again, 2 days in a row. Two of these big gap ups in a row, and seems slightly bullish, but it's pretty uncertain still. These headlines coming out. Absolutely. Back to the VWAP moment. Well, what's red today then? Not much. There's not too many things that's red. The VIX is down 5%. SanDisk down 5%. MU, so the memory names down 3%. That's about it. Everything else is green. So oil's back below $100. Not too bad. Right at the VWAP, back right in the middle of the 30-minute opening range. 0. while they're saying SpaceX is supposed to IPO. Well, I was saying SpaceX meant to IPO by July, in a few months, but it's just crazy. They they said on Polymarket they're supposed to be within 100 days from now, $2 trillion SpaceX IPO. That sounds absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. It doesn't need to happen that soon, but I really want to get some capital together to even put a little bit of money into it at the IPO, because I think that's one of the companies that I will consolidate a portion of my net worth into over time. Not immediately, but ideally I would like to drop like 1,000 on the IPO, get a couple shares, and then let it play out for a little bit, and then dollar cost average into it. And then I'm starting to move around a little bit of positions and try to position my portfolio for the real winners of this next several years. And I don't want to be stuck in names like Nike and PayPal, although I'm in Nike, PayPal, and Oklo, which is a nuclear fusion company. And I really like the theme, and I really like, I'm more interested in solar though, but in the long term, I think there's an opportunity to invest in some of these names like that. But I think there's better opportunities right now to consolidate your positions into, and so I'm looking at names more like Robinhood and Tesla and Nvidia and MU, and some of these smaller names too, like rare earth minerals and rare earth materials, critical minerals, and yeah, like the mining stocks, the Bitcoin blockchain type of stocks. I think there's some more opportunities there. And then like Robinhood, they're doing the tokenization, and they have a social trading platform coming out soon, which I think is going to be really big. And I think Robinhood's undervalued in a big way in the long term. I've been investing in Webull, which is kind of a proxy to Robinhood, but it's terrible. Stock's all the way down to $5. It can't get out of like a $5-10 range for months, and their financials aren't really too bad, but it just doesn't have a real good story behind it. There's not really, so I'm probably gonna consolidate that position into more towards Robinhood, because the CEO Vlad Tenev is out here making moves. He's doing a lot of acquisitions, tons of acquisitions, and really has a big vision for the company and for the future. And he has an LLM for mathematics called Harmonic, and it's pretty interesting. He's a really smart guy. So I think I'm gonna allocate the money that I have in Webull to Robinhood and SoFi, and also taking some of my capital out of PayPal so I can add to those. So that's what I'm doing over these next couple of months, and I want to prepare for this SpaceX IPO and for the market. The market will be prepared by that point. By July this year, I'm expecting the market to be at all-time highs. I'm expecting SPY to be all the way up to $700. I predicted that SPY is going to be over $700 at all-time highs in 4 months, or 3 to 4 months, from 4 months exactly from March 1st, which is when I posted about it, which marks the end of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter on July. I think that's right. No, the beginning of the second quarter or something. And so if we get the SpaceX IPO around July and the market's already bounced, we're out of this uncertainty and we're at 700 all-time highs already, and then the market is going to shoot up 5-10% in a week or two with this IPO. And who knows, all the news that they've been dropping in prep, trying to get investors excited, like the Terafab announcement last week, which is pretty big, and actually you need to study that more. There's a lot there. A lot of people are saying it's just like a money grab. It's just him trying to hype up the stock before the IPO, and that's probably part of it. But Elon knows what he's doing, and he has a bigger vision for the future, and a lot of the stuff that he says does come true eventually, even though his timelines are off, and he says things are going to happen a little bit sooner than they only do happen. And the stock has been beat down for a while, and hasn't had much love. I think that's going to be changing over the next year or two, and he's consolidating his assets, he's simplifying his life, and he's preparing for this productivity and AI boom that he talks about, and everybody's talking about, and that's been developing for the past 10 years. And so it's really all coming in towards this IPO for SpaceX and alongside Tesla and xAI and all the companies that are associated in these big projects that they're working on, massive projects. They're literally talking about 100 million square foot building, like I was talking about a week ago or so, about how I really want to be inside of a data center that's unimaginably massive. And I have like this dream that I have like a vision of being inside this ultra massive data center, and Elon's literally bringing it to life. And it's crazy, like Elon is like kind of like building out my dream, which is pretty insane. I really want to go. I did an interview at SpaceX back in 2022, and I didn't get the job. It was kind of a rough interview for me, but really wish I would have taken a job at SpaceX 4 or 5 years ago. But now I'm just a day trader, and now I'm really trying to day trade my way out of a 9-to-5 job, which sounds insane, but it's really not when you know what you're doing. When you know what I know, it's really nothing. It's just a matter of time, patience. Trading is not something I want to do full time. I do like trading full time and trading for income, full time income, but my time is mostly spent on other things still related to finance and whatnot. Okay, we're rejecting that VWAP. There we go. Let's see. From the VWAP to the 21 EMA on the 5-minute. And then below that, we're getting some bullish, big volume here. Look at that. It looks way different on that chart. This is not a real candle. We didn't actually spike all the way up here. We actually only spiked up to right here. I don't know why. This isn't even real. That's not real. That didn't actually happen right now. Okay? No, seriously. I'm looking at a different chart. It didn't happen. But it's going to. It's foreshadowing. No, this is good. Some of the chip names are up. Some of the chip and critical mineral stocks like Cipher Mining, it's up 15-10% today. This is big. There's only like 5 stocks on my list that are in the red. I don't really see anything too bearish then, I'm kind of leaning I'm kind of leaning bearish because even though the timeline is thinking that the war is like kind of, easing up and coming towards a close, they're having negotiations, which is a positive sign. It's really good, but they're still saying the timeline is not to be decided by Trump, and it's not to be decided by anyone, which is just more uncertainty and more fear, and there's just really overly overly positive about this back and forth that we're getting right now. And so it's hard to say that we're just gonna rip above 660, making it a high day, rip towards 670, which would be ideal for the day, to just get a massive rip towards 670 and just go. We break that high day, 662, and I'm scalp some calls easily, no problem. I could do it in power hour, but right now there's no moves. We're still right in the middle of the gap, and also right in the middle of yesterday's gap where we closed. The price is like really going sideways. You look at the chart, I haven't really gone anywhere for several days. So the key is to break out of this range either way. I think I got paid a Nike dividend today though, for like $3. I don't know how much Nike I have, like $600 Nike, and I get like $3 every quarter. That's crazy. That's $1 a month in dividends. If only that was 1,000. You need 1,000 times. So I need what, 600,000? There's no. I need 600,000 in Nike to make 1,000 a month in dividends. That would actually be pretty legit though. Would be legit. Wouldn't pick Nike. I mean, Nike actually is kind of low-key undervalued right now. I would actually pick Nike, and I do invest into Nike, specifically for the theme going into the Olympics in LA, which is in 2028, which is in 2 years. And I think Nike has a lot of potential to come back and be great, potentially finding a new face and getting back to their original design foundations, and then doing the big event with the Olympics in 2028 in LA. It's going to be massive. I really look forward to that. So I'm buying Nike at the lows of the past 20 years for that reason. But it's nothing compared to like buying Nvidia or buying Tesla right now, or buying Robinhood. You don't need to pick every stock. You just need to pick a few of the stocks that are the best and know the reason why, and make sure that they're profitable, and then make sure that they're projecting to make more profit in the future. UFO. This is 52-week high. I don't know what that UFO. Okay. Closing the candle right at the VWAP looks decent. Definitely the chart's leaning bullish here. I mean, unless we're rejecting it at the VWAP, but right now it seems to favor upside. Bear lotto ticket. I don't see it on the chart. Now, let's see what happens. I'm not gonna just reject right away. Okay, here we go. This spot that we're at right here, you see it's just like perfectly in the middle. Arm shares surged over 15% after unveiling its first in-house chip, with management targeting to 15 billion in revenue from the product by 2031. Dang. Activate. Oh no. See if it's gonna go. Oh, that's great. This old meme that says, if you allow the government to break the law for an emergency, they will create emergencies to break the law. It's pretty interesting. It's an old meme from COVID, but I feel like that's pretty interesting. Not that the government is breaking any laws, but it does hold relevance in terms of power and control. What else? All right. Let's see. Holding above the VWAP. Pretty good. Need volatility. Where's the volume? Who's making decisions? Back to the VWAP? I don't know. No movement. Let's see some volatility. Go for a high day. QQQ at 1.2%. SPY up 0.86. 659. Okay, 662 call, just for example, the low day is at 34 cents. It's trading for 53 cents. High days at 92 cents. I like it here, but it's not perfect. Still no trades. I'm looking for more certainty. Looks like it wants to go for the high day, but it's pretty slow. And we're kind of still at a tricky spot. Over 660 would be more definitive. $662 calls trading for 50 cents right now. I would actually take it, but we'll see. They're gonna move fast though. I already know they're gonna move fast. There's nothing really saying that. Nothing really like supporting us getting big run right now. Over high day, 662. But I think it's possible, but I'm not really seeing the volume or the momentum. Over this 660 though, it looks quite a bit better. Feeling bullish. I don't know why, I'm just feeling a little bullish on this chart right now. But it could definitely just reject right here. That's the problem, is it could reject and just dump. Any news, it could just, something could happen, it could just dump. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to enter a lower risk trade, like a $50 contract on the 662 call, just because of that. If we get a close above 660 and then we show like more momentum for the high day, then I'd be more tempted to take an entry for a scalp. Still got just over an hour until lunchtime. 659. Another gap up and consolidate. Have a day every day. Gap down, consolidate, gap down. Sell off at the end of the day, gap up, go sideways, gap down, go sideways, gap up again. Here we are. That's just what it is. A lot of these moves happening overnight. It's like retail trading during the day, and then overnight, all the other people the hedge funds and all the billionaires are making their decisions overnight, and the big traders, they're making decisions overnight, or just the algorithms are catching a wave overnight. Maybe that's what it is. The algorithms start tweaking out overnight because there's all this changing sentiment, all these headlines, and then the market's less liquid overnight, so the price action just like magnetizes. Who knows why it really happens so much, but like these overnight moves, if they happen right at the open, it would be pretty good, because we used to get moves like that. I'm looking forward to a market again where we get those moves right off the open. We rip, everything's going up for like the first hour, and it's like relatively easy to make money in a market like that, as long as you don't like get jaded and try to think that you can just short a bull market and short the market after rallying multiple days in a row, because it doesn't work that way. The market will continue longer than you can stay solvent, or the quote is, the market will be rational longer than you could stay solvent. So that the point is just be more patient and understand the trend of the market, the bigger trend, which typically is always up, and then there's always like a smaller micro trend. Like right now we have this small downtrend, 6 or 7% off the highs, the all-time high on the market, and it's mostly just due to uncertainty and all this trade supply with oil, things like this. And so the market's pulling back, granted correction. But it's all in context of a much bigger uptrend, and it's really not a big deal in that bigger trend. So to think that you get to short the market now and hope that it's going to be lower a month from now, that's not how it works. Because there'll be a day where the market really signals that high probability that the bottom has been put in. We haven't done that yet. Like if we closed at 670 today, like if we gapped up and closed at 670 at the high day and then continued that the next day, then that would be a pretty probabilistic bottom signal. But for now, there's not enough momentum, there's not enough decisiveness in the market to go in one direction. We've been going sideways. So it's a little bit harder to trade. The risk to reward on calls here is actually very good, though, to be honest. At least the way the contracts are priced. I mean, the chart itself, maybe not so much. We are holding above the VWAP, but the contracts themselves, the way they're priced, surprisingly seems reasonable. For example, the 662 call right now is at 40 cents, or the 661 call is at 64 cents, which is pretty cheap. It's down like 20 cents over the past 10 minutes. But the low a day on this contract is only 52 cents. Although we were down like $3 lower earlier below the VWAP. But we're above the VWAP holding it. And the contract is at 61 cents, 62 cents. The low a day is 52 cents. So your stop loss would be the low a day on the contract. You'd have to set a stop loss limit at 50 cents, 52 cents on the contract. So you'd only lose 10 bucks. But if this does rally to 662, then the contract would double or triple. So you're only risking 10 bucks, maybe 20 bucks if somehow it doesn't fill. But I mean, that's the real risk though, is if you put a limit order to sell, to take a stop loss at 50 cents on that contract 62 call right now, and then if it dumps a big red candle, it may skip your stop loss. It's happened to me before. In a situation like that, you could just lose like half that position really quickly, which would suck. But it's still worth it in a lot of ways, unless like for me, I can only take one trade, so it's kind of less worth it. But that's really what I have to deal with, what I have to consider when I'm taking a trade or when I'm considering a position. Even if I don't take the trade, I have to decide, if I would have taken the trade. I'm trying to decide. But yeah, so it's like right around that low a day. The high day on the contracts, $2. So just an interesting observation. It doesn't necessarily signal an entry. What it tells me is that the risk reward on the contracts within the option chain itself right now is kind of leniently priced because the uncertainty is slightly wavering. So it seems somewhat bullish. So getting an opportunity to take a trade right now with like very small risk to reward, or very small risk and a very large reward, is pretty solid. And that's what I think this would be. And your stop loss would technically just be below the VWAP, any close below the VWAP. But the contract would hit that 50 cents, 52 cent low a day pretty quickly. A couple cents below that VWAP is 21 EMA on the 5-minute chart. But you'd have to set a manual stop loss. You wouldn't really be able to mark it out on a red candle like that, in the worst case. But the contract's already back up to 70 cents now. But we're just going sideways. But that's really the trade that I would be looking at. I'm not taking it necessarily right now. I'm looking for more of a late entry, but But yeah, that's the 661 call. What I'm seeing, it's pretty interesting. Good risk to reward. But a headline could come out. We can get a red candle below the VWAP. That's the only concern. There's a red candle below the VWAP. Oh no. See how the contracts right down to that low of day perfectly, 51, 52 cents. So there's the stop out instantly. So if I was in the trade, it was instant stop out right here. So look at the contracts at 52 cents, that low of day, like I was saying, just like that. That's the VWAP red candle, like I was saying. Boom. All right. So about 50 minutes until lunch, we're starting to see the uncertainty continuing to affect the chart. That sell off below the VWAP is gnarly. Adobe at a 52-week low. below the 21 EMA on the 5 minute there. Yep. Well, the range is really we got to break up. We got to close above 660 or below 655. Really 661, but 660 would be pretty solid. Under 657. 48 minutes until lunch. Previous day closed at 653.18. So if we do want to go below 655, make a new low, I guess the opportunity would probably be between 655 and 653, which is that previous day low. So this close right here, 653.18, and this 650. Well, this is the low of day, so kind of lines up with that SMA 50, and then the real 655 and the SMA 100 here. Below here, I mean, this would be not much for a scalp, really. It's definitely possible to catch something there. Break below here, then we still have this. This is the level that I'm really looking at, 655. But the low of day is 655, 67-ish. I don't know if this is technically on filled here. I mean, it obviously looks like it, but 650 and then 648, 50, 651, 652, 50. So it just sucks that we would gap up above this resistance, this trend line resistance right here, and but we're still above. That's why this 655 matters. We break below 655 and we're back into this uncertainty. So that's what it is right now. Gotta be patient. 45 minutes till lunch. One thing I like about this situation here as well, given that we're showing more weakness, like say for example, the 652 put, it's trading for 44 cents right now. The low of day is 22 cents, which is 50%, but it's only $22. So that's worth the risk. We're breaking the low here. That contract is already up to 63 cents. But for example, like that entry would be solid because the contract's already going. But basically that entry would be solid because you would stop out at that 22, which is back at the VWAP. And it's still not even that good of an exit, but you're only risking the 20 bucks. Yeah, I totally missed that. That contract was at 44 cents. Now it's at 90. It's already at $1. That's insane. But yeah, that's the kind of entry we're looking for. So see, this big candle happens. We're back already at 655. Makes it hard to take the trade. So that's the problem here. Kind of could have seen that coming, but yeah, so now it's gonna sell off and without below 655. See, now the risk is just higher to take it. That sucks. That kind of really screws it up. That kind of really screws it up. Darn it. We'll see what happens here. It's hard to get an entry when you just get a big red candle like that. Already down to 654. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yep, 652 put from 44 cents to 120, just like that, in like literally 60 seconds. For not much of a good reason. It just has to happen so fast without you, and it's just what it is. So now, like, you would want to chase it here, but it's gonna bounce. That's the problem. So we can't just chase it because it's gonna bounce, especially if you get in and you try to chase it here and you buy another put even further out, then you get cooked because it's gonna bounce. It happens every single time with these type of candles. It's just a fake scam candle. Trump tweeted something, whatever. It's really nothing, but we probably do go lower, but now the entry is just kind of risky. Contracts back down to 88 cents. about to close below 655. That would be pretty decent, but I've already sold off a good bit here. But that 653 level is still there. Oh, it's just gonna close above 655. See, 5 seconds to close. Yep, close right above it. See, that's the problem. So now we gotta wait. It's a patience game. It really is. That entry, those entries would have been super solid, but based on the risk to reward, but the price action wasn't telling me to enter. The risk to reward is solid. I could take the $20 risk and it would have made $80 right there, but it's not necessarily worth it. I mean, we did get below the VWAP, so we did have that confirmation, but obviously that move just happened really quickly, so taking either of those two entries would have been higher risk, which I'm not looking to take right now. But I'm kind of forced to, in a way, when I do end up taking a trade. $40 minutes to launch. Back to 656. Yeah. Look at that perfect green candle right in between. Perfectly in between the 50 and 100 SMA. This green candle just couldn't be more textbook perfect. This is the fake out and the fake news candle. And then we bounce and gap. Close perfectly above the level, the perfect level on the day, and then this candle, definitely fake. Look at that, insane. As long as we get back down here and close below here, then looking for more of a short, if anything. But now it's a little more tricky, a little more risky. If you miss that. That close below the VWAP, you know, was one entry, and there's another entry with the risk to reward on those 652 puts, which we're trading at 44 cents with a low of day of 22 cents, which that alone is enough signal for me to consider that a useful trade. It may not be like a quality trade or high impact, because the price action isn't as definitive, although we did break and close below the VWAP, so that is kind of probably good enough. But these are just the factors that you have to consider. Trading is a very small thing. Not looking to lose. Big bounce. Yep. No trades. Dollar hits high day. Bouncing back the whole sell-off. a dip, huh? It doesn't work? What happened to the... I don't know what that happened. Is it still live? Hello, hello. Yo, what's good, Millionaire Timeline? Shout out to you. God bless you. I don't know if my stream just died. My software went down. It doesn't seem like it's out. Oh, we're coming back into the VWAP. This price action is starting to get a little bit more volatile, which is decent. Minutes until lunch and still below the VWAP. If anything, we're going to reject the VWAP and then we're going to end up going lower by the end of the day. There's not really anything positive to send the market higher here. If anything, the fear and uncertainty is still there. Should check the I'm curious. So I was looking at the uncertainty index, the fear and greed index, I mean, yesterday, and how it hit a low of 4 out of 100 last year in April, about a year ago, and that was the bottom of the market, and then it bounced all the way up into the 60s just a month later. So I'm curious to see, is it the CNN fear and greed index? Yeah, the CNN fear and greed index. It's at 20. It was at a week ago. It was at 15, and it was at 16 or 14 yesterday. So we gapped up, but the fear and greed index is reading a 19 right now. And I'm just looking at that April low. We haven't gotten down that low. The lowest we were at was a week ago at 14. Ideally, the market won't go lower. Ideally, the market does hold this level and continues to go higher towards 670 with more positive news. We're back right at the VWAP. But it's going to be tough with the market right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. We may go higher just because. Let's see. No trades though today. There was some really good entries and setups, but no trades at all. Seems like the SpaceX IPO news is really the big bull theme right now. And the only thing holding it back is really just the conflict with Iran. And if it continues, the market's just struggling to get momentum. We need decisive price action. That's right. Back above the VWAP, that's crazy. Kind of swept that previous low a day. We didn't fill the gap. We're still above the resistance. But the 660 level, 661, if we're gonna go higher, close above there. This is going to be a test of the VWAP. Rejecting the VWAP. We may go lower. Only 20 minutes until lunch, so this price action isn't really giving me much of an opportunity after that big dump, and then bounce. The market's just gonna continue to be volatile, but slowly moving downwards until this fully resolves. Once we get fully decisive resolution in either way, then that's the only way the market's gonna have a significant bounce or signal a bottom. Wow, ARM's up 21% now. Space Dock's up. Intel's up 7%. Cypher up 7%. SMCI up 7%. AMD's up 6%. SoFi, Hood is up 7%. A lot of good names are up pretty big today, even though the market seems kind of weak. It's really kind of just going sideways and consolidating here. It's hard to trade though. It's a little bit hard to day trade after a scam kind of like that. We got the same kind of thing yesterday with this big green move and then this down wick. It made trading after that kind of difficult. Wasn't able to enter a trade. Similar here with this. This was a decent setup. This closed down here, and then the risk to reward here was really solid. But then we got this big move off of some headlines, and now it's really didn't do much. We're probably going to end up coming back down here, but we didn't really close anything below the 655 level, which is the whole level that I'm waiting for. We get a close below 655 right here. We have room to 653 and 652.18, which was the previous day close. 653.18, I think, and at 652.50. But for now, it's just kind of a roller coaster, honestly. I'm looking for really high signal trades that give me low risk reward. So I do regret not taking that entry at 44 cents with the low a day at 22 cents. That risk reward on that contract was excellent, and it ended up moving up to like $1.20. really quickly, but it wasn't really like it wasn't ideal because it was based off of headline. We just it's no decisive price action at all until we break below 655 or we close above 661. 15 minutes until lunch. It's funny, what I'm seeing here is like the support levels on one chart is the 50 and 100 SMA that you see on this chart, but on a different chart I have the 9 and 21 EMA, which are just above in the same way on the opposite. They're in between the VWAP and where we're at right now. Those are really like the levels of supply and demand intraday, support resistance in confluence with the VWAP. So looking at the 9 and the 21 EMA above and the 150 SMA below, that in conjunction with the VWAP above or below, and then momentum with sentiment combined is really the type of strategy. That's kind of how my approach to the chart is, at least for now. I'm trying to keep it simplistic, but you know, getting outside of those ranges, you know, is much more significant. It has much more signal than, say, the VWAP bands themselves, because the VWAP bands are static and they're not dynamic like SMAs or EMAs are in different situations. But I just use those as like a way to determine where the direction is and where the momentum is, when the momentum is. So where the direction, when the momentum, and what is the sentiment. And those are like the confluences that I use to determine where I'm entering. But with a small account, my positions are completely different because I'm having to take late entries and I'm looking for early exits. So it's really an opportunistic kind of strategy, and a lot of it is kind of momentum or intuition, just based on my experience. Trying to put it all together at once, and it requires extreme patience. So it looks like, you know, there's only 13 minutes until lunch now, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be any trade for me to enter. If the price action looks good, maybe I'll come back on it during power hour, the final hour of the day. But so far, this price action it looks like we gapped up above this resistance, this kind of trend line. Once again, that looks like this. I don't have it drawn, but it looks like that. We're kind of holding above. So it's really a consolidation and confirmation of that for tomorrow. So if tomorrow we have more of an opportunity to catch a move upwards in here, or even to the downside, if we were to gap down and sell, break these lows, then we would have this room. So tomorrow seems like much more of an opportunity to take a good trade. Unless, you know, there's probably going to be an opportunity at the end of the day today. So we'll see. But more than likely tomorrow I'll be taking a trade just based on what I'm seeing on the chart. It also has to do with the news as well, so the news can't be too out of whack. It can't be too much like randomness and uncertainty, because then we get these scam candles and these manipulations, is another way to put it. And it increases the risk and decreases the reward. It skews the ratio in the market, at least in the short term, intraday, for day traders. I didn't know Robinhood actually announced a $1.5 billion share buyback program yesterday. That's pretty cool. I wouldn't expect anything less from Robinhood. They make money directly from transaction costs and from trading fees. So for them to buy back shares is so easy, and they should be doing more of it. It should be compounding. Not that they should own more than, I don't know, what is there a limitation to how much a company consolidates or concentrates its own ownership in its stake or its own companies? I don't know if there's a precedent for that. I don't know. Like, what if they just bought back 20% of their stock? Is that illegal for them to do? They increased from 400 million to 1.5. Okay. 5 minutes till lunch. Price action is really slow. Well, no trades for me today. It looks like the market is a roller coaster. Too volatile. Well, it's really not volatile enough, actually, but price action is boring. Yeah, there's no good price action. It's time to get some lunch or go do something else. Go outside, go for a walk, do some errands, whatever you got to do. The market's really slow today. Price action's pretty whack. Tomorrow present better opportunities. Potentially in a power hour today, but probably only if we really break out either direction. The range is 655 to 661. In between there, it's kind of dead for now. So now it's lunch, 12 o'clock Eastern. I'm gonna go do some things. I got some writing to do. Have a good rest of the day. I'll be back tomorrow probably. in the morning, hopefully for the Open, but we'll see. See you next time.